Brilliance. How do you establish brilliance? I don't know what your definition of brilliance is, but for me, it's all about execution. For me, it's about showing up and representing the best possible parts of yourself, whether that's in conversation, whether that's following through with a commitment, or whether that is just helping someone in a way that only you can. That is your brilliance. Lynn Smith, good friend of mine, former HLN weekend anchor. She was on CNN, the Today Show. She did a video on Instagram yesterday talking about expertise and how the clients that she works with have to learn to get out of their own way. They hide behind their expertise. And I thought that is really, really interesting because we hang our hat on why we should be a part of the conversation, why we should be part of the interview, the process, right? We have to prove that we have the chops, what it takes to be there right now. And we have this tendency to put this false bravado and this hide behind our credentials or our experience and exude our expertise. And oftentimes that comes across as inauthentic and not very interesting. And what I loved about her advice was this: you need to show up and demonstrate what only you can do, the you factor, the you part of what it is, because that is what people are really interested in. It's not the fact that you went to school or you've got all this corporate experience or you've done these things both in your personal or your professional life. They want to know the thread of who you are. When you can establish that, that is the hook. And I was thinking about the elements of brilliance, and that is, I think, my skill set. I had lunch with a good friend yesterday, and we were talking about where I want to go and what I want to do professionally and where he wants to go and what he wants to do professionally. And he's like, man, you got it all figured out. And I'm like, I don't have anything figured out. In fact, I am probably more lost right now wandering in the forest than I ever have been, because I feel like I have done a really good job establishing a brand and growing it, but only up to a certain point. And now I feel like my friend Sophie Mazzaro will actually appreciate this. Amazing artist, incredible person. If you didn't see my Lakers sneaker video, you got to go check that out. But she's got this pet lizard, and the lizard, is awesome. It's really cool, but lizards, just like snakes, have to shed their skin. They have to evolve. And she did a video about this a couple weeks ago, and it made me think, like, how great would that be to be one thing one day, shed your skin and be something completely new, brand spanking new the next. And you can look at this from the chrysalis phase, from being a caterpillar into a butterfly and all that stuff. But when he made that comment and we talked a little bit about our circumstances, he used actually the word brilliance. He's like, how do you show up and show your brilliance every day? And I've never really contemplated that. I've never really thought about that in a big, big way. But then I went home and I thought last night more about our conversation. And I was asking myself, Steve, what is your brilliance? What is it that the you factor, as Lynn Smith says, what is it that nobody else can do? And I think really at the end of the day, where I am with Ripple isn't that I want to distance myself from it or that I feel like I've accomplished or achieved everything I possibly could. What I feel right now is I am ready for a metamorphosis. I'm ready to change it. I'm ready to do more. And that means that you got to strip everything back to the bare basics. And when that question got posed to me about brilliance, and then I saw Lynn's video yesterday after that, it was like a perfect storm, right? And I thought about this. Your brilliance really comes down to three things. And for me, it's about showing up and being authentic and really having a good heart and commitment to helping other people. That's my superpower. And when I am leaning into my superpower, man, oh man, things are rocking and they're rolling. But when I have to do things that take me outside of that, that is where I start to lose my motivation. I start to lose my enthusiasm. I start to really, really feel like I am misaligned. And when that happens, I want nothing more than to shed my skin and remake myself and do something different, which is where I think I am right now. So I want to talk to you about how to establish your brilliance. Through my lens, this is what it takes. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about brilliance. I really boiled this down to like 3 things. To really lean into you, or at least for what has worked for me, is you don't tell, you show. I have always prided myself on a very consistent work ethic. I show up before most people. I often work later than a lot of people. And over the years, I've tried to adapt that to have a little bit more life balance. But really at the end of the day, just like today, I couldn't sleep this morning. So I got up, I went for a walk, run, did about 3.5, 4 miles. And then I came back, did a little bit of laundry, and I came into the office. Yesterday I went to the gym. Tomorrow I'll go to the gym. But I leaned into this process of like, hey, if I'm not gonna sleep anymore, I'm not gonna sit here and scroll on my phone. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do something that is good for me to get my head right for the day ahead, because I've got a busy one. So then I got to think, how do I leverage this time better? Well, I wanted to talk to you about brilliance. So I got dressed, came in, started filming, and I kind of showed you how every single day around here starts, right? I come into the office, or I come into the studio, I get things prepped for the day, I get my coffee, I get my journal, and I often start writing and thinking about the day ahead, getting my list together, trying to be better at that, creating more of a productivity enhancement. But I don't do that because somebody's watching. And I don't do it because I'm gonna have pride today to have lunch with a buddy of mine and tell him, hey, I was up at like 2 this morning and I did all these things and used my time effectively and blah, 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 blah. So you don't tell, you show. You don't have to worry about what other people are thinking, because if you are showing up for yourself, everybody else's perception will take care of itself. They will see it. They will recognize your brilliance. I know my team knows I get in here early. I know I have people that are on the cameras. They know that I am hustling hard, not only for Ripple, but for my software company. And I get in here and I do the work. And I don't have to brag upon it. I don't have to tell people about it, because it just gets done. That's an element of my brilliance. The other thing that I would say is that you commit to your daily habits. You find things that work for you. I have a tendency to be very distracted and can get really, go down a rabbit hole very easily. So what I've tried to do is create habits around process and approach, going through the motions every single day so that there's some predictability there. And because of that, I've been able to eliminate a lot of the distractions and challenges that I face, and be able to not just come in here and just like get my coffee and sit at that table you saw and, simply drink and then scroll for what feels like hours, right? Because getting in here at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning doesn't impress anybody if you don't get anything done, right? So you actually have to create a habit. And part of the reason that I do that is I get the things that I need to get done out of the way so that I can be more present and available to my team if they need me during normal working hours. One of the last things I'll say is that I put good between the ears. I constantly have an audiobook that is playing. Right now, I have 3 podcasts that I'm listening to, and then I am listening to Mike Maples Jr.'s new book called Pattern Breakers, because great ideas come from great content. And so whether it's a podcast, Ed Milet, Tim Ferriss. Tim Sanders is a good one too, good author. I don't know if he has a podcast, to be honest with you, but Kevin Rose, Honest Broker, there's a whole bunch of things that are out there that I pick up and get good ideas, which when I have good ideas, I have opportunity to leverage those ideas or these concepts or these thoughts or share them, which becomes a shareable for me for when I'm connecting with people. And that's one of the elements of my brilliance. The other thing that I have been very good at is just letting my mind wander. You saw me turn on the record player and get that going first thing this morning. I needed a little Billy Joel this morning. I needed a little oomph. And I picked up this little ditty, the 52nd Street album, at a half-price book for $16, and it's great. But having the ability for me to find these things that relax me, calm me down, and allow me to kind of ease into my day, music is a big factor there. So that's one of the other elements that I do. So as I was thinking about this conversation yesterday, kind of tie all this back, is I don't know that by anyone else's standards that you would consider what I do, how I start my day, what I do to stay motivated, inspired, and continuing to stoke those creative flames is really, truly all that brilliant. But for me, it is. It's actually the thing that ignites my engine, gets it fired up, turns that little flame into a bigger flame, and then eventually an inferno through the day, so that when I am in front of people, or I'm on a Zoom meeting, or I'm connecting with a group and I'm speaking, I am 100% bringing the best parts of myself to the table. So going all the way back to what Lynn says, do and show up and present only what you can do. Many of you may look at this video and be like, man, this is just this guy bragging and talking about himself or whatever, big whoop. But these three simple things that I've done have really helped me understand that where I am and what I do and where I show up in the world is important to me. And it is also an opportunity for me to say, not every day is going to be perfect, and even not every idea or project is going to work out. But I know that if I just lean into my strengths, I will find the brilliance in every idea, in every conversation, and in myself. And part of my brilliance is showing up and doing the work, being present, listening, and being a good steward for the conversations that I am privileged to have with other people. So that's just a little bit of insight. As it relates to where I'm going and what I'm doing, kind of like Sophie's lizard. So I'm shedding my skin, opening myself up to new possibilities, and going to embrace my brilliance even more. And hopefully you'll come along for the ride. We'll see where it takes us. I actually really want to make a bigger point there. I think everything in life is about timing. The fact that this comment got made yesterday during lunch, the conversation that happened and evolved in such a way, the fact that I had somebody that was recognizing me for, or sharing what they recognize in me as what they see as my brilliance, when right now, in a lot of ways, my confidence is at an all-time low, or I'm feeling like I need to make a change, right? i.e. shed my skin, do something different, or, shake some shiz up, right? That conversation happened at a perfect time. And to hear somebody else's perspective about how closely they pay attention to what I do and how I do it and how it inspires and motivates them. And when I look at the person who shared that with me, I look at them and be like, holy crap, this person is amazing and brilliant. Why would they ever look at somebody like me? But it really made me feel good. Then to come back to the office, actually got involved in 2 very important meetings, and I was able to contribute and add value, and I felt really good. And while I was waiting for another Zoom call, I popped open my phone. I shouldn't have, but I did. I saw Lynn Smith's video about expertise, and the fact that is one of the biggest mistakes that she says her clients make is hiding behind that, and they don't bring their full self to the interview. And you need to lean into what you and only you can do. It really got me thinking. And so I went home, I was watching the Cubs game, I was writing some things in my journal, made some notes on my phone, and then that led me to everything that happened today, right? My process, my approach, it might have been a little different because I got in earlier, I knew I wanted to make this video, but the steps, the process that I went through, there is comfort to me in doing it the way I do it because there's a predictability. And it's maybe only my predictability, maybe it's the only thing that would work just for me, may not work for you, may not work for anybody else, but it works for me. And then as I thought about, before I click record on this thing, Steve, you do have some brilliance. You do bring something important to the world, and that has led you down the path of success. And maybe this video will be seen by 2 people, and maybe one of those people will be like, screw that guy. But maybe one of them will be like, maybe I'm a little more brilliant than I'm giving myself credit for. Maybe I have some brilliance that if I actually think about it a little more, I could actually really tease it out. I could play with it a little bit. And then I could do what Lynn suggests and apply it out there in the world a little bit differently. My job and my relationships, in the connections that I make, in how I show up in the world. And if I inspire just that one person, maybe that's you, then hey, I'm leaning into my brilliance. I may be evolving, I may be changing, and my skin could be like shedding, and I could be something, I hope, vastly different and greatly improved come this time next year. But it's a process, and I'm figuring it out, you're figuring it out, maybe we figure it out together. Who knows? Until next time, ripple on. Your video shot suggestions are, no, not suggestions. Your video shot ideas, Steve, are not brilliant. They are stale and boring. Kind of like this coffee. This coffee sucks balls. Yeah, cool mug though.